J. Cole is back outside, guys, and he's back on bull. We're going to discuss it today. Just want to make sure everything is good with my stream. We're not going to spend too long because I'm pretty sure you guys have already seen all the stuff that's being said online, but I did want to briefly discuss it because, I mean, we can probably do it in a video, but like when it comes to this topic, I'm honestly so over discussing this stuff. Like I've said the same thing for 2 years at this point now, and we're still here because people in the industry are purposely misconstruing things. And I don't understand why. It's so easy to understand. It's very easy to understand. Now, I just want to share out the link real quick before I actually start. What have I said on this channel since I started? Love J. Cole's music. But I've said from the very beginning that he is a middleman. And I've also said that being a middleman is the worst position to be in. We're going to get into it today. Let me just share this to the Twitter. I know some folks are going to get mad. I don't care. I don't care. Just give me 1 second. I said J. Cole, the great middleman. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. So essentially what happened is J. Cole, what's good, Lucid? What are you saying, bro? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. We're going to discuss some stuff today, man. We got to J. Cole's back at it again, man. I'm sorry, bro. We're going to discuss some stuff real quick. Just before I make some dinner because it's getting late. But I did want to kind of do this, and it was already late in the day. I was working out and all that, so I was like, yo, I could do a video, but if I do one and I edit it and do all the clips and stuff, it probably won't come up until like in the evening or night. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, all right, let me just do a live now. And I don't even think the full interview has dropped yet, so maybe I'll wait until the full thing is done to actually cover it and I'll upload. You know, but for now we can live stream and discuss because this is happening in real time, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? So J. Cole, we know J. Cole and Cameron have had some beef, I guess you could say, over the last couple of years. And from what I know, from what it stemmed from was J. Cole and Cameron did a collaboration on Might Delete Later. They had a song on Might Delete Later. And I think what ended up happening was Cameron had said with J. Cole that there, I guess, was an agreement, right? That once Cameron comes on Might Delete Later and pens a verse for him, does a verse for him, that Cole was supposed to return the favor on a Cameron project or a song or whatever it may be down the line. From what we know, from what Cameron said, Cole was kind of dodging him when it came time to, yo, can you be on the song? And he wasn't really hearing from him. So Cameron, you can say prematurely or whatever, filed a lawsuit against J. Cole, right? I don't know the specifics of the lawsuit, but it pretty much stemmed from that situation. Now, I don't know if the lawsuit dropped. I think it did. I don't remember because, you know, I don't really be paying attention to that aspect of it. But Cole decided to show up on Cameron's podcast, the newest episode, which I guess is premiering tomorrow, I think, coming on there saying, yo, and it was funny. It was initially funny. When I saw it, he came on there, he's like, yo, and it was a surprise because we didn't know if they were cool or not. But he came up there and he was like, a lawsuit, bro. And that was funny. I'll give him that. That was funny. And I guess it was promotion for the new episode that they're going to be dropping within a day or so. The problem is now, I guess now they're promoting clips of the interview itself. And J. Cole is back on his bull again. And I just wanted to discuss the idea of being a middleman. And I wanted to show some things that I said earlier on Twitter as well. I want to see how you guys feel about it, because here's my thing. I'm going to reiterate this throughout the entire live stream. I am not saying that J. Cole needs to pick a side, because every time I explain myself about this situation, you have fans who are like, yo, or I guess you say it's J. Cole fans. What do you mean he doesn't need to pick a side? That's messed up. What are you saying? I'm not saying he needs to pick a side, but you guys have to understand that more than two things can be true at the same time. And I see a lot of people don't want to do that, right? It's either Cole is being genuine and he's being a good friend, he should be friends with them, or it's like the extreme on the other side. It's like, no. We're going to state the facts of what's going on in this situation here. The facts of the situation is is that being a middleman is the worst position to be in, whether you genuinely feel very strong about your friends or not, right? Regardless, whatever your motivation is, to me, it does not matter, because at the end of the day, it's about how the other two individuals feel. This is about how Drake and Kendrick feel, about how you're moving, right? Because it's a lot of you coming out here and saying these things, but at the same time, you're parodying, or not parodying, I should say, you're bouncing back and forth. Your views aren't consistent, right? How you feel clearly isn't consistent, and it feels like you're conflicted, which is why I put down the thumbnail. The man's conflicted, clearly, right? So, let me find my tweet first. I just want to go back from there. J. Cole says, I'm going to read the post from one of these hip hop pages too. J. Cole says he found it disgusting how people tried to tear down Drake while also being proud of Kendrick Lamar and the moment he had. The world became like politics. You either Democrat or Republican, either Kendrick or you or Drake. I was disgusted both ways, damn near. The out of hand, that to me is disgusting. How people tried to use that opportunity to show how they really felt about Drake the whole time, or just to pile on and tear down this dude and create a narrative as if he's not great. It was a whole campaign. J. Cole, you're not acknowledging half of what happened. What about there was no campaign against Drake. I have been said this. There is no UMG. There's no industry campaign against Drake. People are just getting off how they felt about Drake, whether they've been saying it the whole time, because people have been shitting on Drake for a long time, as much as he's been successful. That's not new. Or they're now saying things because of how you carried yourself in the battle, right? You filed a lawsuit, right? And if anything, now we're seeing that Drake has PR, allegedly campaign companies behind him, right? Doing negative campaigns and PRs against other rappers. Pusha T, allegedly, Meek Mill, and now Kendrick Lamar. We 100% have seen a Kendrick Lamar hate campaign since he won the battle, right? They're not attaching bots to any of your legacy. We've already had Spotify come out and say, yo, bots have not been used in this course of action, in this battle, right? And if a hip hop artist did lose bots, they would tell you. But that was the first narrative stick, right? Never mind what Drake tried to paint about Kendrick, right? Because it didn't stick in reality. It's only his fans that are going to continue to push that as if it's real, just out of spite, right? But we know what Drake was trying to put on Kendrick. It didn't work in the long run. But it doesn't mean that you didn't employ bot pages and all these other tactics. You had your people who were friendly to you or more privy to you in the podcast space continue these same talking points that he's using here in this interview, that you're a victim, right? That you didn't deserve anything. Kendrick didn't have henchmen that are under him or affiliated with him threatening to kill people on Drake's side or J. Cole's side. But people were doing that on Drake's side. Nobody's saying that. J. Cole, you're not saying that, right? So it's like, you also are mute on the fact of the lawsuit. You're mute on the fact of all the things that Drake has done, at least far as we know, right? Because they have talked behind the scenes. You're so mute on the fact of these things, and you're painting in a way that Drake did nothing. He's a victim. That's not the case. Drake introduced this energy first. He was a willing participant, just like Kendrick, in the battle. But this energy of doxing, the energy of toxicity, the energy of painting narratives and lies and all this stuff was introduced by him first. Now, if there's anyone on Kendrick or J. Cole's side that's continuing this energy, that's not right either. But I'm not going to do this whole thing where it's like it's evenly based when it's not. It's clear as day where this energy came from. When I got into the discourse in 2024, because I was just viewing this as a fan, all this whole bot thing, this whole stream counting numbers and first weeks and all that shit, although the toxicity and the negative energy that all these people have online and just coming at you with straight, that was all new to me. I did not know that this, like, people actually feel this way. I've heard shit about the barbs and shit. I never paid attention to discourse like that. But then when this whole thing happened, I was literally damn near shocked that people actually behave like this. You know what I'm saying? And nobody wants to get to the root of the issue here. J. Cole, you love hip hop. How do you feel about Drake suing Kendrick Lamar, or I should say UMG by way of Kendrick, or Kendrick by way of UMG? How do you feel about that? That's not hip hop. So when Cole doesn't speak on these things, as far as I know, because that opinion should be public. I don't really care if you think there was a hate campaign. There wasn't. But every single person who speaks in favor of Drake, whenever it is, whether it's Cole or his fans or people in the podcast space, they say the same things. It's like they're given a script. And I just don't understand how they're not seeing these things on the other end. Drake has actually been accused of botting his streams and playlisting and all that before the beef even happened. But somehow, like I predicted 2 years ago, he reverse engineered to make Kendrick the face of botting, and we have zero proof of this. Right? But you're not saying anything to that. So do you believe what Drake is alleging? Do you think Drake has a point with how he's coming at UMG? These are things that I want to hear you say. If I were to interview Cole, those would be some of the questions I'd be asking. Because it's just so confusing, you know? These guys are actually crazy if they filed an actual lawsuit for promo. Man, I don't know, man. Cameron was wilding for that still. You know what I'm saying? I understand you're mad that Cole didn't get back to you, but like, bro, a lawsuit is insane. Conflicted. That's not what he's talking about. Oh, here we go. I think y'all are putting too much on it. I took it as Cole saying it's weird to see the folks that put Drake on top are now turning on him. Who turned on Drake, though, that was putting him on top? Like, if people are saying that Drake, you're whack for filing this lawsuit, I don't see people that being wrong. I don't see people turning on him, right? I even see people who are in favor of him saying, I don't agree with the lawsuit. If people are clowning you for that shit and everything you've done since the beef, because he has continued that energy, what's the problem? It's like no one wants to be accountable on his behalf. That's the issue that I have. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just confusing to me. It's like we're just going to ignore everything that Drake did because Kendrick won so decisively. So all the campaigns and things against him, it doesn't matter. Kendrick won. But I feel bad for Drake. It's like, no, you willingly participated in this battle. That's one. Two, you brought that energy into the space, right? Kendrick said to keep it friendly. Cole backed out before he even had a chance to get to that point because he probably knew where it was going to go. He knows that Drake is going to take it there, and that's something else that he's not going to say. He knows Drake, so he knows Drake is going to take it there. That's also why he wanted to leave. But then he knows Kendrick is not going to go and say, oh, I'm high and mighty like how Cole does. And he knows that energy is going to go to a crazy place. So Cole had a point with that, but he's not being fully true about how it got to that point. Okay, you said media. Okay, explain your point further. Because how is media turning on Drake? The man has a whole PR agency, apparently. How is the media turning on him? I would like to know that. You were talking on behalf of today. I believe Cole is speaking from the timeline 2024. That's what I'm doing too. I'm speaking from the timeline as well, from the beef, right? You can even go back to first person shooter to now. Cole is 100% conflicted. And J. Cole fans, I'm still a Cole fan, but no, Kenny's my guy. But Cole, like the Cole miners, the Cole sloggers, y'all can't get mad at people who are fans of Kendrick or Drake and are looking at Cole sideways. I don't care what justification you have for Cole saying what he's saying. I don't really care. You cannot look at people who support Kendrick or Drake wrong for looking at Cole like he ain't wild right now, man. I'm sorry. Because even yesterday or 2 days ago, when he did the interview with Nadeska, still didn't like some of the things that he was saying or the way that he was saying it, really. But I was like, yo, I think Cole's coming from a genuine place. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Then when he comes and does this, I'm like, bro, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? No, because the lawsuit was after Port Antonio, correct? You're talking about Drake, Drake's lawsuit or Cameron's? Yeah, Drake's lawsuit. Yes, I think, yeah, it was November. And Port Antonio, I feel like, was October of that year. I didn't even get to Port Antonio yet, to be honest. I actually forgot about that for a second. That's another thing. That's another question I would ask him. It's the way that he words these things. I see that the Cole fans are trying to find a way to see what he's saying. But I'm not. It's like you know what it is? You could have so much less trouble by wording it properly. I don't think he's wording it properly. You know? We can give him credit for coming out here, being one of the only ones of the three to really come out here and say how he feels. I don't think Kendrick or Drake are going to do that. You know? And you can say that's wrong or right. I don't really care. You know? But if Cole, you're going to come outside and say these things, I just want more clarity. Right? You went to Nadeska, who's a super fan of you, so she's not going to get into the nitty-gritty. Cameron, he'll get into more of the nitty-gritty, right? But Still not asking the questions that need to be asked. That's my opinion. Not all of them, I should say, at least. I'm a hip hop fan first. That's cool. There definitely was a media switch up on Drake during and shortly after the beef, but most of them are talking sweet about him now. What media switch up though, man? I'm not understanding, bro. Y'all help me understand this one. If Drake did nothing, if Drake won decisively, as Kendrick did, let's say it's roles reverse, right? Not only do I think they wouldn't be giving Kendrick this much bail, 100%, right? But that doesn't really matter. But there would be no reason to clown him, right? And outside of that, people talking shit about him. People have always been talking shit about Drake from the very beginning. It only got worse because he fucked up. I don't think it's a Cole fan thing. I think it might be an age thing. My older ears will probably hear things differently. My younger ears are hearing things as they're being said. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. I get people are trying to explain for Cole. If there was so much clarity, it would have been clear. I'm not putting too much on it. I don't think you guys are understanding or at least taking accountability on behalf of what Drake has done post-battle. Right? I don't understand why you guys expect the media, who is the media, I'm not saying they're saints, they're toxic, right? To come look at what Drake has been doing and just continues to be like, he's still the greatest, he's still number one, guys. Like, they're gonna look at the situation and roast him for doing stupidness as he did. What's the problem? Right? I don't think people would be saying this if it was the other way around and Kendrick lost like this, right? Because you guys already know it would be hell on earth if Kendrick lost the battle the way that Drake did. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't see the switch up. That's really what it is. I don't see the switch up. I've always seen media talk shit about Drake. I have always seen it from the very beginning. Even when Drake was putting out good music, actual music that was lit, proper, they've always been talking shit about him. So it's nothing new. But what, you didn't expect Joe Budden to go, crip walk with his people the week after Not Like Us came out, right? As far as the media that is super in favor of Drake, and there's a lot, they've still been saying the same thing. I don't think you guys have seen, and we haven't really ever seen a decisive win like this. Media hasn't seen a decisive win like this. So they're reacting accordingly, especially when he's doing stupidness, and they're going to clown him for it. But to Drake, to his people, to his fans, or anyone else that's just looking at the situation, are genuinely probably shocked. They've never seen something like this before, right? So they're looking at the media like, yo, there's no way that you guys are like saying these things about Drake. He's still number one. I mean, he's still doing stupid shit. You see what I mean? Like, I'm not seeing the media switch up when the man allegedly has a media campaign agency behind him. If anything, right, it's the other way around. Let me find my tweets real quick. No, I don't rock with Drake. Me, I always said on the channel, 2011, no, my bad, 2008, 2015 Drake. That's the era for me. On occasion when those songs come on, I'll listen to those. The new shit, I do not bump whatsoever. But he'll always get his respect from me from that part of his catalog, that part of his career. After that, no. Right? But he's already up there with the greats for me just off of that alone. Doesn't excuse you doing any bullshit. And there's been a lot of bullshit that Cole even now is a part of the people who just keep not wanting to point to that. They never want to focus on that. And then it continue. I don't think Drake is a victim. I don't think people were dogpiling on him either, right? They reacted accordingly because he did stupid shit and is still doing stupid shit. it's like you expect everyone, not you per se, I'm not saying you, but just in general, the consensus is everybody expects them or media or everyone else, fans, whatever it may be, to just not speak on the stupid shit that he's doing and still say he's number one. You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird. Everyone else gets ridiculed, maybe even gets attacked, gets called out, or held accountable for all the other things they do, but him. And as soon as people start keeping that same energy with him, it's a PR campaign, it's a hate campaign, it's a slandering campaign. What is going on? Do you not see your own fans doing this to everyone else that you have beef with currently? No one talks about that. So I think Cole is saying things that he's saying things because he wants to stay in their good graces, right? But my thing for Cole is that it's like, I always wanted Cole to just stay on his own square. To tell you the truth, I don't really. That's how I honestly feel. I don't really care about you choosing a side. I'm going to reiterate again because I know people are going to say, "But why should he choose a side?" I am not saying he shouldn't choose a side. I actually think he should take option C and choose himself. I don't care how much of a friendship he has with Kendrick or Drake. Choose yourself. Just have a little self-respect, right? Because you said you called them after the beef, but you haven't spoken to them in a while. Who knows how long that's been? Maybe that he talked to them in 2024, in 2025. Maybe things weren't, you know? I want you to choose yourself. And maybe one day you guys can come to a place where you're friends again. But you're not choosing yourself. You're choosing to be in the middle because you want things to return to the way they were before the beef, when everything was la-di-da-di-da. That's not going to happen, right? And that's why I said being a middleman sucks, because you genuinely probably have real, feelings towards your friends. You care about them. You want this not to be a thing, but you're not taking their feelings into account. And since you are trying to appease both sides, at the same time, you're going to be pissing off both sides, right? That's when you take a step back, right? Some fell off during second disc of Scorpion. Oh, yeah, there was 2 discs for Scorpion. I couldn't even finish that album, man. I couldn't. People have talked shit about Drake, but when we're talking about hip-hop media, Ebro, Joe Budden, Complex, etc., those guys started popping off on him, but before they were singing his praises. Yes and no, because remember when Joe Budden was reviewing For All the Dogs in 2023 and Drake wrote that whole long-ass paragraph to him and shit? Joe Budden out here did what, 5 diss tracks to Drake in 2016? Doesn't matter if they sang his praises or actually upheld him when he was doing good. When they had disagreements with him and weren't, fucking with what he was doing, they spoke about it. Ebro too, he spoke about it too. Complex, I don't know about Complex, but Complex always is going out of their way to say something nice about Drake, right? They were fighting very difficult to try and be fair during the battle based on the articles I was seeing. So I don't know about Complex, right? But Ebro and Joe Budden both have said negative things about Drake before the beef. So that's nothing new, right? Just now, no matter what, we know it's a situation in the industry where I feel like these guys know they don't really respect Drake, but they have to. And Drake knows that himself. That's why he moves the way he does, right? But I could probably see that for Ebro and Joe Budden. They would prefer if Drake wasn't who he was. They would 100% prefer that. So I'll give you a little bit of bail by saying the beef probably gave them the full opportunity to let out their true full feelings, but it wasn't like it was hidden beforehand at all. Like, we knew where they stood with Drake. It was pretty clear, right? They fuck with some of his, they F with some of his music, but they're not afraid to call him out on shit. But the beef 100% gave them like, yeah, now I can fully tell you how I feel, Drake. All right, so I'll give you half and half for that one. I'm not saying the backlash wasn't violent. It absolutely was. You see what I'm saying? This is him choosing himself. Doesn't sound like it's him choosing himself. He's still choosing that he wants to be friends with both of them and wants to appease both of them. I don't think that's going to happen. And I already knew that from 2024, from before he even dropped Might Delete Later. So why continue? Choose yourself means respectfully, I respect these guys, but I'm on my own square. All right. I'm not trying to slight any of them or converse with them until their situation is cleared. And I'm not trying to please either party. I'm choosing myself. And I think maybe not Drake, but I think Kendrick would probably have a little respect for Cole for doing that, as opposed to doing what he did. And this is another thing I wanted to say. working with Drake, in my opinion, in the way that he does. You remember when Jay-Z was apparently nudging Drake like 10, 12 years ago to beg J. Cole or beg him to give J. Cole a hit song because J. Cole was having a hard time having making a hit song. I think J. Cole's first #1 song was First Person Shooter, if I'm not mistaken. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. How many times have you seen Drake do that for a lot of other rappers? Tons of times, right? Their biggest record or the biggest moment is with Drake. So it puts these artists in a certain position that they have to talk about him a certain way. And I think, this is me just theorizing, Kendrick peeped that from all the way back in 2011, 2012. And that's why he's been very distant. He doesn't want his career to be accredited to Drake, right? But we can say that for almost everybody else. So when they start talking about Drake, even if they rock with Kendrick, they have to say certain things because at the end of the day, people are going to say, yeah, Drake gave you your first #1. You see what I mean? So I think what Kendrick wanted, at least this is how I perceive it. I think Kendrick probably would have preferred if J. Cole stayed on his own square, didn't try to click back up with Drake. It wasn't necessarily a threat to him, but I think he perceived it as like, okay, this is what you guys are trying to do. And then you're going to try to gaslight me on a phone call, allegedly, to try and join this song on his album that he can tweak and see. You send me the beat and I don't know what's going to be said after, whose verse is going to go, all the politics that can happen from it. I'm good. And then J. Cole, I'm going to look at you away because you know what our beef is saying. You know how serious it is. It's been going on for a long time. So why are you trying to gaslight me and force me into this situation? And then now you're going to paint me like the bad guy, which is exactly what happened. Right? So that's how I perceived it. Right? So let me know what you guys think about that. But there was a time frame when hip hop media went from Drake is the GOAT to F Drake, then back to Drake is the greatest again. I don't know, man. I can't really say hip hop media in conjunction with saying that though. Like there were certain specific hip hop media talking points, right? But I can't say like as a collective hip hop media was saying Drake was amazing. No, fuck Drake. Then Drake is amazing again. It's not the case. I will say that Joe Budden did say he doesn't make enough money when Drake isn't doing good though, right? So it shows you where some of their motivations are with some of these hip hop media people. You know what I mean? Yeah, Cole needs to understand that these two are grown men who don't like each other. It's never going to be kumbaya with them and Cole. Got to realize it. Thank you. What am I saying that's wrong, guys? Lynch DJ, thank you. It's just as simple as that. It's none of this. Oh, it was a people just trying to slander his legacy. It's not like he didn't deserve any of it. Like, just stop, man. That's just annoying. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's very annoying. It's like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? That's not the case. Still looking for my tweets that I said I was gonna find like 20 minutes ago. Wow, let me keep looking. Okay. Unfortunately, you guys have to realize that the story can't be told without Cole. Cole is just saying his POV, how he was feeling. I understand that. What you're not getting necessarily is that Cole shouldn't have to do this, right? How you feel, Cole, 2 years after the battle and all this stuff isn't going to change what happened. And honestly, I can respect him for coming out and saying how he feels. I don't really care. I want you to remove yourself from the situation by not trying to be neutral. And I think you just commented at the bottom. You can't be neutral. No, there's no neutral. Be for yourself. Let these two men figure their shit out. And if they never figure it out, they never figured it out. Right? But they should have enough respect for you to understand that, yeah, I'm not partaking in your little beef. I'm not trying to please both of you. You guys figure your shit out. I'll still rock with you guys if you rock with me. But I'm stepping away because it's affecting my brand and my mental health too. This neutral shit is not going to work. Right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. I don't understand why him and his fans just keep wanting him to be, yeah, he's for everybody. I'm saying again, I'm not saying he needs to pick a side because I know some of these Cole fans are coming here. I'm not saying he needs to pick a side. I want him to pick himself. And him being neutral is not picking himself. He's making things worse for himself and the men that are looking at him. Because at the end of the day, it's about how those two feel about what he's doing. We already heard Cole say, I'm neutral. I love these guys. How do they feel about how you're moving? That's what matters. It's just a bunch of, oh, I'm neutral. I'm for both guys. I don't want to pick a side. I love Kendrick winning the Grammys, but not at the extent of Drake's legacy. Just stop. Just stop. And then people are gaslighting me, telling me, "Oh, no." I'm like, no. Why are you guys acting like I'm not saying common sense things? Not you guys. I'm saying people online. I'm saying common sense shit. Like, it's not difficult to understand. How many times are you gonna play the neutral party? It's not working. It's not working, right? You make a fair point. I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, man. That's all Cole was saying. They took. That's all Cole was saying. They took that moment. Which moment again? The whole "I helped you, therefore you are forever in my debt" mentality is BS. That's exactly how Drake thinks, though. 100%. I don't think Kendrick thinks that way, but I think Drake thinks that way 100%. And that's the narrative he pushes out, right? So I think Kendrick, that's why I credit him. I respect him for probably looking long term. Like, I don't want to be buddy buddy up with Drake. Then I'm on his songs and then they blow up and we get number one, but they're gonna say it's Drake that gave me the number one. Then I can't ever come down and try to, move ways with him if he does me dirty. Because that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna put you on and he'll probably try to snake you in some way or move weird with you down the line, right? And we've seen people like Rick Ross and Future and Metro, they beef for him, but then they always come back. Then they beef for them again. Then they always come back and they beef for them again. Right? Cole was doing the same thing. Remember, he was sending shots to Drake early on too. Then they clicked up, right? Cole kind of did his thing with the feature run, KOD, For Your Eyes Only was on his own. Then they clicked up again coming into the 2020. It's the same situation, right? So I think Kendrick said, I'm trying to avoid all that. I don't want to be involved in none of that. And I respect it, right? Because every single other person in this, hip hop battle of 2024, except for The Weeknd, because The Weeknd was already buzzing. I think every other person in that situation, you could argue, and I don't believe this, but you can argue, yeah, Drake put you on. And I think Kendrick wanted to avoid that. So Cole has to come out and say things the way he's saying. He don't want to piss off Drake, right? But I think Cole in his light-skinned self knows, right, that long-term Kendrick's going to look at it like, fam, it's cool, right? But I just didn't like how you're moving. Whereas Drake is like, no, you're forever indebted to me. Don't speak negative about me ever. And that's what motivates these guys to say things the way they do. You know what I'm saying? They are asking him the questions. You don't think he would love to talk about only the fall off? I'm not even talking about that. Right? They're asking the questions, pre-approved most likely, so he knows what he's walking himself into. It's not like he's going into it blind, right? Which I have a lot of respect for any of them coming out here and going into a blind interview, not a controlled environment, a blind interview where they're asking you whatever. There's no filter. Most of these interviews are going to be in professional settings. I don't really care to hear about the fall off now, to be honest with you, right? I like the album. It's okay. I like Off Season much more as an album than the fall off, but I'm sure he would love to talk about the fall off, but he decided not to. He came out here to talk about this. And I don't think the full interview has dropped yet, right? So for all we know, he is going to talk about the album, most likely. I don't see that he's not going to speak on it, right? But you decided to speak about this. These clips come out now. You know what the headlines are going to be. If you are going to talk about your album, it's now going to be clouded by this. You see what I'm saying? So now that's a whole nother conundrum, right? Oh, cool, man. You do not make it easy on yourself. You want to know why I speak passionately about this too? Is because I've been in situations like this. Now, I haven't been the middleman myself, but I have been on the other end of it where people are trying to appease both sides. And I tell them respectfully, if you're having a hard time trying to please both sides, just stay over there. I need people who are for me. If you're not for me, that's cool. If you're trying to, you generally are friends with me and you can't decide this and that, that's fine. But I'm not gonna trust you. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. So it does come to a perspective of me having gone through some stuff like this before. And I'm pretty sure many of you have too, right? Whether you were the middleman or the other person, I think it's the most dangerous position to be in. Because you just can't be trusted. I don't see anything wrong with that either. Okay, let me find what I said. I'm still looking for it. Are these my replies? No, I'm not on my replies. Cole is big enough of an artist to not have to answer questions he doesn't want to. Agreed. Cole doesn't want to answer those questions. He's not answering them. You think Cameron didn't give him a list of what he was gonna ask him beforehand? You think he just genuinely walked in there and it was raw like that? No. Pause. No. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't, right? So he is a grown man himself. He can decide what he wants to answer, right? Okay. So somebody asked on Twitter, how would you have handled it in a situation to where you're cool with both parties, right? So I responded by saying it would be very tough for Cole given how he's known both of them for so long. No one is asking Cole how he feels about the lawsuit and how Drake was saying all these things about Kendrick. I know Cole loves hip hop, but it should start with Cole holding Drake accountable for how he went about things post battle. If he's not acknowledging it, then it kind of comes off like he agrees with what Drake did. And that would maybe make Dot feel a type of way, right? So his compliments come off as slights. Because from Dot's point of view, it's Cole not acknowledging what was done wrong to him because he won. How do you guys feel about that? Right? So it's pretty much me. They're saying, like, okay, yeah. When you're giving me credit, I can't really believe it. You're saying you're happy for me, but you're mad that it was at the expense of Drake when Drake willingly participated in this battle. No matter what bullshit you can say about people turning on Drake, media turning on Drake, he chose to engage. That's the one thing we can give Drake above Cole. He chose to engage in the battle. No one forced him to do it, right? No one forced him to say the angles that he decided to do. No one forced him to go file a lawsuit. He decided to do that. Why is nobody talking about these things? Is it because Kendrick won so decisively that you don't think it should be acknowledged? That comes off to me like you're trying to paint a narrative. Like all the podcasters, rappers, everyone else, when they're speaking in favor of Drake, they say the same thing Cole just said. And that's what's very confusing to me. It's like a script. So are you trying to paint a narrative? Right? And when you are doing that, you see how there's so many questions. When you are doing that, now I have to question your authenticity when you're saying, oh, I'm so happy for Kendrick. You are the one that's in the middle of this battle. Out of anyone, the fans, the podcasters, the label people, anyone involved, these three know exactly what it is. Why is Cole saying this? Why is Cole of all people saying this? It's not a Drake stan. It's not a Cole stan. This is J. Cole himself saying the same shit they've been repeating for the last 2 years, that Drake is a victim, whether it's from UMG or from Kendrick. Like, what are we doing? This is a grown man that we're talking about here that made his own decision to jump into the battle. Now we're mad that Kendrick didn't battle Drake with his best interest in heart. What are we talking about? You can't just be happy for Kenny, right? Like that's the part that's just confusing. You know what I'm saying? Now you leave no stone unturned. Could you elaborate? All right. I also said on another thread, I don't know why Cole can't understand this, because they were talking about somebody said the problem is when you try to please everybody, you eventually disappoint everybody. And I 100% agree. Stop trying to please everyone. Stop trying to please your man. Stop. Just stop. There's not enough people telling J. Cole to stop and choose himself. Someone said this is J. Cole choosing himself, then he's making the wrong choice again. He needs to go back and reevaluate and really choose himself for real. They're asking him questions you don't think he would love to talk about. They're asking him questions you don't think he would love to talk about the fall off. Now you leave no stone unturned. I'm a little okay, yeah, but I'm just confused because you're initially saying, right, that they were asking the questions. Cole most likely knew the questions that were being asked, right? So if Cole had a problem with the questions being asked, he probably wouldn't want them to be asked, or maybe said in a different way. But he didn't. He's answered these questions and he said how he felt, and he's still trying to play the middle. You see where are you seeing where there's an issue with that? You're saying he's choosing himself, right? But what I just said here, right? When you try to please everybody, you eventually disappoint everyone as well. You can't do that. And that's what I'm trying to communicate here. That you can't do. You can't expect these men to look at you like everything's la-di-da-di-da after this when you're moving like this still, especially Kendrick, right? I think, you know, there's a chance Drake and J. Cole will be cool again, right? But it really depends if Drake is mature enough to really kind of forgive him for what he did too. And I don't know if he is, you know? Um and in response to the person saying the problem is when you try to please everybody, you eventually disappoint everybody. I said, I don't know why Cole can't understand this. I get that these guys are your friends, but being a middleman will always be untrustworthy. Can't blame either of them for not rocking with him, right? And that's when I was that, and this is where the little thread I was talking about with the Cole fans. Someone said maybe you're 12 to 15 years old, but if you're full blown adult and you can't understand why somebody won't pick a side between two friends, then you have a lot of growing to do. Again, I'm gonna say this again. I am not saying he needs to pick a side. You see, when I say these things, they hear something else, right? So I said, show me where I said anything about picking a side, because I didn't say that, right? So I said, why do you guys keep assuming this when someone says those two guys should or could feel a way about how he moves? Every time that's brought up, it's why you want him to pick a side. I never said that, right? But they have all the rights to feel a way if they do, because we don't know. We don't know what was said behind the scenes, right? We don't know how they feel now from when the call was made. But if that is the case, guys, why does no one want to acknowledge that? This is what I'm saying. People just have a way of hearing things and then they want to skew and believe that reality, and that's what it is. And I'm like, yeah, I don't do that. I don't do that. For the comments above, I'm responding to Lynn. Oh, okay, all right. They responded to him. Lynch said, then he not getting the interview. Even Cam said he wouldn't talk about the beef if he didn't want to. Okay. Yeah. I think I agree with that too. Like, honestly, if Cameron is saying something, like, he's gonna show you what he's gonna ask, and if you're not cool with it, you're not gonna answer the questions. If you're cool with it, you're gonna go full blown with it. J. Cole seems like, to me, he doesn't fully know his feelings, and his heart, I think, is still kind of in the right place, but he's refusing to see how the way he says things and the way he acts, how it actually comes off to other people. Like, he's just like gonna say, I'm for everybody, I'm for everyone. But then when you say certain things and act a certain way and leave people hanging in certain ways and prop up them up 8 months later, whatever, this and that, you're refusing to believe or refusing to acknowledge how it would come off to those same people and everyone else. Right? You can't just say I'm genuine, I'm humble, this and that. I love both these guys, and then do things consistently to slight them and then snake them and then move iffy with them too. Like, I just can't remove those actions, right? That's not what I'm gonna do. Neutral does not mean please everybody. No, but it does mean at the same time that you are trying to please both parties, right? While trying to not slight them at the same time, but you are slighting them at the same time. It's the way that you go about being in between, right? That's the problem. I think it's possible for you to do that, but I don't think J. Cole is doing that right now. I honestly do not. I think he's doing a bad job at trying to be honestly, genuinely neutral. I don't think he's capable of doing it right now. Cole on this seeking validation from Kendrick and Drake run is pitiful. Thank you very much. Focus on yourself, Cole. Maybe it would take Drake longer, but I think both these guys would have more respect for J. Cole in the long run if he did that. Just leave the noise. You already left the battle. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to hear every 2 months that these guys are your guys. I love Drake. I love Kendrick, but they were taking down Drake. Oh my God. Like, no one wants to hear this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just shameless, man. And it's like, yo, like, you can't. And again, if you're defending, what am I saying? If you're defending J. Cole at all whatsoever, whether you're a fan of hip hop, whether you're not a fan of him, but you see what he's saying, I need you to understand one thing. You guys cannot get upset or be confused as to why people think Cole is not a good friend. I'm going to repeat that again. Every single person that is speaking in defense of Cole, whether you're a fan or not, you guys cannot. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. You guys cannot act like it's not okay for Kendrick or Drake or any other fans or the people who support them or just watching from the outside look at J. Cole like he's a bad friend. You cannot do that. I don't care what justification you have for this. It doesn't matter. Like, come on, man. And I like Cole the most of the three, but this is pitiful, bro. Talking about my wife was crying, bro. You were feeding into the narrative that you were shook. LOL, it's sad to me. I don't know. It's like, yo, even when he said that, that's not something, yo, you couldn't even beat that out of me. There's no way I would let anyone know, even if she cried because, oh, you know, I'm proud of my husband or whatever. I'm proud of him for being a bigger man. I'm not letting them know my wife cried over this rap beef for whatever reason it is. You don't need to know that, right? And I also saw, I don't know, I assume it was a Kenny fan. He put a picture up of J. Cole's wife on Twitter. I was so upset about that. And I seen all the other Kendrick fans whacking him, which is good, but like he was doubling down on it. And I'm like, these are the people we got to get out the discourse. There's no need to be posting anyone's wife, right? Even if it's Sophie or whatever that is Drake wants to call her, right? Even if it's Sophie, no need to post Whitney, no need to post J. Cole's wife, no need to post Adonis. You do not need to post the children, the family members. Do not post them. I 100% agree with that. No matter what side it is, don't be doing that shit, right? But again, Cole, why did you bring it up? Don't involve your wife in this discourse. You know how nasty this shit's gonna get, man. You couldn't beat that shit out of me, bro. Yo, when I heard that, I said, there's no way, man. Do you know how they're gonna paint this? It's like he doesn't think about how his stuff will be perceived. He just thinks that I'm genuine, I'm humble, my actions are genuine and humble, and everyone will understand that. Do you know what world we live in? Do you understand? Like, yo, like we have to be honest, man. He left the noise, and all y'all said is, who's all y'all? Who's all y'all? I thought you were a fan. Aren't you the one that said you're a fan of hip hop? But you're speaking like a fan of Cole. Hold on a second. Slow down. He left the noise, and all y'all said is he needs to address the battle. Y'all being hip hop fans are conflicted. I don't know why you're directing this to me, bro, because I've made my point extremely clear. That's why you're in here saying otherwise. I've made my point abundantly clear. I've said from day one, right? As soon as Cole backed out that beef, choose yourself. Don't try to be neutral. Don't try to appease both of them. Don't try to appease one of them. Choose yourself. I have said that from the very beginning on this channel. Go back to the videos me talking about J. Cole, and you can go see yourself. I never once said J. Cole needs to come out here and choose two sides. Try to make both guys happy. Try to uplift Drake or uplift Kendrick. I want a Cole to be on his ones. So redirect your comment, because that ain't to me. Right? And when J. Cole dropped Port Antonio, his first response talking about what happened, did anyone like that fucking song? Because I did not. I didn't like how he was wording it. Drake, you'll always be my nigga. They want to tell you this and that, talking about bots and shit. You're parodying the same narratives that these people have pushed. That's not you addressing the battle, right? So people can rightfully so have an issue with the way he's coming about these things, especially 2 years after. This would have been great to have in 2024. You didn't do that. You didn't do that. So don't try that with me, man. See another narrative, bad narrative. I don't know, man. I don't know about this Gonzo guy, bro. Facts, bro. Take that shit to the grave. What the F? LMAO Cole is the first at reading the room. Where is his PRT? No, that's really what it is. Cole can't read the room, or he refuse. I think what it is, he refuses to read the room because I think he feels that his persona is enough to convince the masses. It's not. Do you see how conflicted society is right now? You see how unhinged people are? You see how crazy people are? There's just certain things I'm not saying. I'm not letting you know anyone I know teared over my decision, whether it was for me or against it. I'm not letting you know that. You don't need to know that. But he doesn't have the awareness to understand the world that he lives in right now. You know, this is not back in the day. And even then, people still misconstrued what you're going to say. It don't matter what time period it is. It happens all the time, right? So, man, bring being human back. These niggas ain't robots. I agree. I definitely agree. But there's a lot of bots online, though, now. You know, the bots are replacing the humans. If you ever heard of the dead internet theory, that shit is real, man. There's bots like 24/7. It's shit's crazy. Nah, Gonzo's a crazy name too. Yeah, that's a funny name still, I'm not gonna lie. It's about the perception. That's how it works in hip-hop. You have to control the narrative. Kendrick is the best at controlling the narrative. It is what it is. Cole is the worst. I would agree. I think Kendrick really is very good at that. Drake, I would say, I won't say he's necessarily good at it, but he's equally skilled. or maybe not skilled. He's equally because he manipulates the narrative. I think Kendrick just is able to change the narrative the most out of the three with just his music and what he does. Drake, he has all the media conglomerates, the people behind the scenes, all the podcasters who get the OVO jackets and everything in his favor. So he can control and shift the narrative that way. Cole doesn't have any of that, either one. Right? So he's like trying to play catch up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is what he has to do. LMAO, oh no, why is he addressing it? He needs to address it. Man, honestly, it's about how he, honestly, to me, it's the way that he's addressing these things. I think that's where a lot of people have issues. It's the way that he's addressing these stuff. Or this stuff, I should say, sorry. And I think people are allowed to have an issue with that, but it's like some of you are saying, oh, he addressed it, it's fine. It's like, no, look how he's saying these things. It's clear that he don't understand what's going on. Why is he speaking on it the way that he does? And then the Cole fans get mad at people saying that, right? Because like, well, what do you mean? He still spoke on the beef. He did what you guys wanted. Now you're getting mad at. No, people are mad that he's saying the things the way he's saying it. I don't see anything wrong with that, right? Cole made multiple songs about the beef. He wasn't leaving it alone. It's different fans saying different things too. What were the other songs he made about the beef? There was Port Antonio. And then not counting the fall off, because I know he had some things to say on the fall off, right? But what else did he post after the beef where he was talking about some of the other songs? Or like what were the other songs? I don't really remember. Did he say anything on the ASAP song? I don't remember. I'm trying to think. I don't know. It might come to me, or one of you guys can help. I'm speaking in general, bro. It's not about addressing, it's about how he addressed it. It's just like, it's not about him not wanting to battle, it's how he went about not wanting to battle. Should have never jumped out the window. I can agree with that. My issue with Cole is how he's speaking on these things, and it's still selective, right? I wasn't contingent on Cole coming out and speaking about the battle. That wasn't like a thing for me where it's like, yo, he has to do this. No, right? But if you're gonna speak on the battle, it makes sense. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Who's saying he needs to address the battle in 2026? We already got Port Antonio. That was a trash way of him addressing the battle. That's what I'm saying. You guys are saying, oh, he spoke on it. That's fine, guys. No. And then you're coming at people who are like, still have an issue with what he said. Yes, because he addressed it in a terrible way. And you guys aren't willing to admit that. You can think it was fine, but why can't you guys accept that majority of people don't like the way that he's wording what he's saying? That's the problem. Cole is the perfect interview because he's going to say what's on his mind, how he's feeling. He's not saying it the right way. He's not. The awareness that he has is not right. I don't really see that he's the perfect interview, in my opinion. It just kind of comes off as gaslighting, and it comes off as fake, and you can't really get mad at people for thinking that. That's what I want you to do, and everyone that is seeing Cole's perspective here. You can feel that way, but you guys can't get confused and mad at people who are looking at Cole sideways. And I believe Drake and Kendrick are doing the same thing. They're looking at him like, and you guys can't tell people that. If that's enough for you, that's enough for you. But for everyone else, it isn't, because he's moving snakish. He's moving in between, and no one can really trust him. And none of you want to acknowledge that. You're just saying, no, you guys are mad, this and that. No, it's like, come on, bro. We gotta stick with reality. We gotta stick with the facts. And they're still asking him about it. Again, Cole should have power to go into this interview or any interview and say what he wants to say. But if they're asking him questions that he doesn't want, which I'm pretty sure they'll tell him beforehand, he has all the right to say, I don't want to speak on it. He's choosing to speak on it because he thinks, this is what I interpret, he thinks he's making it better by getting it off his chest and saying it the way he is. I don't think he's doing a good job. That's where I'm at, right? Oh, I was talking about the Biggie versus Tupac fall off song too. Oh, yes. He had that on the fall off. And I think outside some shots on the fall off, he don't know if he did dedicate another song to like the beef itself. He honestly, that song wasn't even bad. I think he got the cadences and the flows right. You know what I mean? But again, when I hear the whole thing, like it was never gonna get to that point, right? And if it was gonna get to that point, right? There's only one person involved that was bringing that energy into the battle, and that's the one that you're saying you feel bad for. You see why the whole attempt of him doing this, it just doesn't feel genuine, man. And then if I'm Kendrick, I'm looking at this like, nigga, what are you talking about? Right? This is why I think Kendrick would probably say, yo, I'd rather you just choose yourself as opposed to trying to do this, oh, please me and him. I don't, that's how I would feel. I would say, go choose yourself, fam, or go over there. I don't want you to do this back and forth with me. That's me, right? Maybe you guys move differently with people who do this to you if it's happened to you. I'm not trusting folks like that nowadays, man. I'm sorry. It's very snakish. It's very weird. It shouldn't be difficult for you to choose, not choose a side, but to choose yourself. It shouldn't be that difficult because I'm doing that. I'll be like, honestly, you guys got some serious beef. Y'all figure it out. You're grown. This isn't grade 5, right? Where we come together and say, guys, ring around the rosy. We're not doing that. So if I'm a grown man, I'm going to say, y'all figure this shit out, right? Y'all know how I feel about both of you. Y'all figure this shit out. I'm not involved. I'm going to focus on my album, The Fall Off, and I'm not taking any shots directed towards you guys either because I'm not trying to hop back in this shit. I'll go shoot at everybody else that tried to slight me in my career because I apologize. That's exactly what I would do if I'm Cole, right? But he didn't do that. He's still on this, oh, it was going to get to a very bad place, but I feel bad about the guy that was taking it to a very bad place. See why that doesn't make sense? You say makes sense. All he can do is give his story. He's not telling it the right way. You empathize with what he's saying because you understand it in his perspective. You're not looking from everyone else's perspective, though, at all. My thing is, I don't like when they drag it. Kendrick gave us whacked out murals and hasn't addressed the battle since. Drake is dragging it, dropping mad songs, being salty. Cole is starting to drag it. It's the light skin behavior. And I apologize if any of you guys are light skinned in the chat. I'm not saying, oh, you're like that, but these two, they definitely move very similar in ways. So I definitely agree with that. Now watch. If Kendrick were to come out a month from now, 2 months from now, do a feature and he's saying some shit, they're going to say, Kendrick's dragging the beef. He can't live without the beef. Oh, why is he coming for Cole? Cole's just trying to mind his business. All this and that. It's like, bro, y'all colorists. I swear to you, I'd be saying that. I'm like, yo, I feel like people are colorists. This is the answer I'm coming to because I'm like, yo, the two light-skinned guys get all the bail, all the understanding. Oh, he's the perfect interviewer. Oh, he's the greatest. We have to acknowledge his greatness all the time. But the dark-skinned one gets the botting allegations. He gets all these other things, and they make them stick, right? I like Kendrick winning Grammys and Super Bowl, but like, I feel so sad for Drake. But then I'm gonna make this song about Tupac and Biggie and make it sound like it's about an analogy for Kendrick and Drake. And I'm gonna talk about how I wish it didn't get to a violent point, but I'm not gonna acknowledge the one who took it to that point first. In every interview and song and every other passing thing that I do to acknowledge this beef, I'm not gonna do that. You see why that doesn't make sense? And then I'm being gaslit every now and then by people online saying, yo, no, you want them to pick a side, this and I'm like, are you guys proving to me that you can't think further past defending Cole and believing he genuinely feels how he feels and he's in the right for doing what he does? Y'all can't think past that for 2 seconds? Just for 2 seconds. I'm genuinely like flabbergasted sometimes by the responses from some of these people. I'm like, what are you talking about? You wouldn't want someone to do this to you. I know that. I know none of you in the chat would agree that you'd want someone to do this to you. I don't care what you're saying about J. Cole. If you were in this position, you would feel away. So don't tell me that, oh, no, he's just saying his piece and this and that. No, stop. After the fall off, I don't need him talking about the beat, but I know how he feels, whether I agree with it or not. You've made your point clear, man. Right? So there's no more of that. But the problem is, and I hate this about hip-hop media right now, they're asking everybody their positions on the beef. And it's a lot more people who are favorable to Drake. So they say the same thing, I find. It's the same thing. Like how Cole's saying it. It's the same way. Drake's like the greatest. I just hate that people are like, shitting on him and dogpiling his legacy. Like he's just done so much, for the industry. It's like, he's the soundtrack of our lives, and like I just don't understand where all this like hate came from. Like I genuinely don't understand. Like it's just not fair, and then like I'm not gonna acknowledge the lawsuit, and I'm not gonna acknowledge his people saying they want to threaten to hurt people. I'm not gonna acknowledge him, using bot and campaign tactics. I'm not gonna acknowledge XYZ. That's the thing that they continue to do every single time. Like, what are we doing? It's like a hive mind, and I'm seeing outside the hive mind, and it's like, yo, people are trying to look at me crazy like I'm saying this shit. This is facts. It's facts. I don't need to hear I swear to you, I do not need to hear every day how great this man is, Drake. I do not need to hear his accolades. I don't care. I don't care what was done. People look at what was done in the past and they're like, you can do no wrong after that. I don't care if you're freaking Beethoven. I'm gonna tell you, if you're moving ways with me, I'm gonna tell you, ain't shit. Right? But people look at people's greatness and they're like, yeah, he's moving weird, but I'm not really gonna say anything because he did put out an album called Take Care 15 years ago, and it was amazing. That's how people move, and that's how they sound, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know what you think about this shit. Because J. Cole is playing a dangerous game, and he just needs to stop. I agree. I think it was Lucid. Yeah, you just said it here. After the fall off, I don't need to hear J. Cole talk about this ever again. But hip hop media, like I was saying, they stay asking everybody about the beef. Shannon Sharp, Breakfast Club, Joe Budden podcast, everybody. They keep asking every single person that's not even in the music industry about the beef. And then sometimes we get some good perspectives, and then most of the time we get some bullshit. And it's just like, just stop. Just stop asking these people. And then these same people are going to get mad and say, oh, why are people still talking about the beef? It's because you guys keep talking about it. So, Cole, you shouldn't have to acknowledge this shit anymore. I actually theorize he's probably going to do another interview with someone. After this Cameron interview, there's probably going to be another one, right? And maybe a couple more or more appearances until his tour, right? Because we're just going to keep the hype alive for the tour. I don't need to hear J. Cole talk on this shit again, please. Because we understand you want to please both these guys, supposedly. I'm just so over it, man. You know what I mean? Like, this shit is just annoying. Man, it's like, man, like, again, I'll say this. You can't get mad. Cole defenders, people defending Cole, whether you're a fan or not, y'all can't get mad at people who look at J. Cole like he's slimy, like he's grimy, like he's really self-serving. You can't do that. You can disagree, but you can't be confused as to why do people say these things about J. Cole? Look how he's moving. Look how he's moving. If someone did that to you, I don't care what you're going to say. There's no way you'd feel okay about that shit. Put yourself in Kendrick or Drake's shoes with exactly how everything happened. You would not be okay with how Cole's moving. You're keeping it 100% light. I appreciate you, bro. I'm speaking fast, man, because I respect these guys, right? I have a lot more respect, honestly, for Kendrick and Cole over Drake in terms of like music making, you know, them as people, you know, that's a whole nother discussion. But when it comes to music, I'm like, yeah, Cole, Kendrick, they're my guys. I don't like, and I've said since 2024, how Cole has been moving. I definitely don't like how Drake's been moving, right? But that's nothing new. Right, so this comes out of more of disappointment as someone that likes Cole's music. Why are you moving like this? Choose yourself. No one's gonna look at you and say, "Oh shit, you're a super snake for choosing yourself." And you could have even rewrote the apology and the effect of how it happened if you chose yourself, because now people are saying, "Shit." Right, he chose himself, like he's on his own square, so that kind of makes sense. The apology looks worse when you're trying to get back in Drake's good graces. The apology looks worse when you, after doing that with Drake, you come and try to say you're proud of Kendrick. But I'm sad that it was at the thing of I'm sad that it was at Drake's expense, right? Because now people are gonna be confused, right? So that's where I'm at with that. He has months of interviews left. Oh God. Oh my gosh, I'm so over this. And let me say again, for any Cole fan that might be in here or watches this video after, I am not saying, because I'm going to keep saying throughout this live, that Cole needs to pick a side, because his fan base, they can't understand me saying what I'm saying without them thinking I'm trying to tell them to pick a side. I don't care about Stan Wars. I don't care about fan wars. I don't care about him pleasing Kendrick or Drake. I do not give a shit. Pick your own side. Pick yourself. Stay to yourself. Drop good music, worry about these two people after when they decide to figure out what's going on between them, or if they don't. It's very simple. Your career, your livelihood comes first before your friendship with these two people, right? Because you see, you trying to appeal to both of them ain't doing much for your career, right? You dropping your music to fall off, that's what you need to be focused on. Focus on your tour. Focus on the music. Stop talking about the beef because you're going to give the same answers. You're not going to talk about the things people want to hear you say, right? You can address the beef all you want. Are you speaking about the lawsuit? Are you speaking on the negative effects of people suing because they had problems with what was said in a diss battle, in a rap battle? Are you speaking on the bad things, the PR campaigns behind the scenes allegedly for Drake? Are you speaking on that, right? You're not. And it's deliberate. You're not speaking on these things because you have to paint the image Drake is a victim in the situation. Like everybody else who comes on these podcasts and shows and says the same bullshit. That's my point. So don't even bother trying to be a middleman. I would feel this way if I knew the story behind first person shooter. From what we know, unless more information comes out and it can, right? They tried to get Kendrick on a song. Kendrick wasn't feeling it. They went and did first person shooter. Drake sent more shots towards Kendrick, right? But J. Cole was also being sly himself. Let's not pretend, right? What other information do you need to know? Because now I understand why Kendrick would feel a way about that. He didn't come out there and come slander J. Cole's entire campaign, his entire career, or Drake's entire career. He said, okay, light jabs. Let me go respond. And he got Future to do the song, and that's how light that happened. What else do we need clarification on? Right? Because I see people saying, Kendrick jumped first. It's his fault. Why this and that, da, da, da. Was he not justified to respond with like that? You know? Bro, we are one interview in. No, we're 2 interviews in, and it already feels like hell. That's not good. That's not good. 2 interviews in, I would hope that your point has been, he drove his point home. We know where he stands. We're not questioning that now at this point, right? But the discourse is what a lot of you guys are upset about. Why are people mad? He addressed the beef. They're mad because of what he's saying and how he's saying it. I'm going to say it again. He does not need to pick a side, right? But the way that he's responding to these questions and specific questions are being asked, and he's not going into what needs to really be said, people are going to feel a way about it. There's nothing wrong with that. What I mean is, if Kendrick told Cole he's not going to do it, what I mean is, if Kendrick told Cole he's not going to do it, what? I would feel this way if I knew the story behind first person shooter. I mean, I mean is, if Kendrick told Cole he's not going to do it. That's what happened, though. That's apparently what happened, right? We don't know if it was all 3 of them on the phone or if it was just Cole calling Kendrick, but Kendrick said, I don't want to do the song. So it's not like a what if. No, that is what happened. Are you speculating that something else happened? No, we are 1. We haven't heard the second yet. Okay, well, yeah, you're right. Let me correct myself. We've only heard 1, and we've heard snippets of the second, and it's already insufferable. That's not good. That's not good. And let's be honest, he didn't need to do either of these interviews for me to say what I've been saying. I've been saying on my channel for 2 years. If you've been subscribed, go check out the J. Cole videos. Check out any of the videos that I've talked about these 3, or Kendrick and or my bad, Cole and Drake. You'll see me saying the exact same thing from 2024. Well, my channel really did technically start 2025, but I have some uploads from 2024. But from then till now, I have said the exact same thing. The exact same thing. I've had so many arguments about all the shots Cole took at Kendrick in first person shooter, broke everything down, and mans are still being willfully ignorant. Stands here what they want to hear. Oh man, that's a definite fact. That's a definite fact. Honestly, you want to know what it is too? Stands are unable to see the diss within the action itself. And Cole and Drake know exactly what they were doing. The action of you doing that after asking me, it's not illegal. You guys can go ahead and do it. The way you went about it, that is a diss in itself too, right? And it's very weird. I find that I've dealt with people like this that are very like sneaky, and they know what they're doing, but they know how it would look, painting the other person to be the bad guy, right? Kick the hornet's nest. That's what those 2 did, and they knew exactly what they were doing. Right? We're going to say this shit, but we're not going to theorize that. We're not even going to think Kendrick's going to respond. But like, if he did decide to respond to us after we did first person shooter in evil ways, we didn't really say much. What is he really gonna say? Right now, he's gonna look crazy when he jumps outside because like we didn't really say anything to him like that. We're just saying that we're the Spider-Man meme. It's just us two in the industry, right? After we asked him to be on this specific song. So it's like we feel a way about that, but it's like, yeah. So if Kendrick does jump outside, like what are they gonna really say? That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. The diss is within itself as well of you guys doing that song after those circumstances. And neither of them would want to admit that. That's the problem. Let me see if I could find more videos. Hold on a second. Let me just preheat my oven because I just seasoned some barbecue chicken this morning and I'm putting that in the oven. Give me 2 seconds. Y'all keep talking. I will be right back. All right, we're back. We're back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back and we're ready to attack. All right. The bro said barbecue chicken like Shaq. Yo, nah, I seasoned some nice chicken this morning. And I was like, yo, I had wings seasoned for yesterday too. And I'm like, yo, it's either wings or I actually do the actual chicken drumsticks. I'm like, you know what? Let me say the wings for tomorrow. I just had wings the other day. You know what I'm saying? Let me just try to, balance it out and switch it up. I'm gonna do some chicken, cook some spinach. Cause we're trying to do this healthy shit this whole next few months. Spinach, some brown rice, put some fruits on the side. Maybe some potato, maybe, or I do like broccoli for another vegetable. I don't know. I'm really hungry. I'm already thinking about food. But yeah, let's get back to it. Let me see what you guys say here. Facts. Because why would you mention my name in a song talking about a big three where y'all are saying you're the only two on top, putting me in third place by default. And then his fan, oh yeah, you're 100% right. And then his fans are gonna say he never dissed him. He never dissed him. He just said it's the Spider-Man meme. Look, like, no, no, no. We're not kindergarten. We know exactly the underlying shots and what they were. And then his fans are gonna say, no, he never dissed Kendrick. He never said that. I had these guys crying to me this morning saying, Kendrick's not a real friend. He dissed him on like that. I said, what did Kendrick say to Cole on like that? That was such a crazy diss. The man said, fuck the big three. A term that Drake and Kendrick never have acknowledged. So while you were on the It's a Blur tour, while you were on For All the Dogs and saying big three, Drake was never saying they're saying, yeah, you're right, big three. No, Drake's looking at himself like, I'm still number one. Kendrick can think he's number two, and Cole knows he's number three. That's exactly what Drake is thinking, right? So this isn't just a Kendrick thing, right? Drake probably agreed with when Kendrick said that, fuck the big three, nigga, right? Yeah, no, that's the part I don't understand. They're always saying, Kendrick said this and that, but he's not a real friend. He's a snake. I said, no, like that was mainly aimed towards Drake, right? And Kendrick just came out and shot at Cole, rightfully so, by the way, because a first-person shooter. He could have said way more than that, right? Rightfully so, by the way, just because he was standing by Drake. Like I said, the association, what you're doing after the fact, the tour, the album, the 2 songs, the little sneak shots, right? All these things. You don't think Kendrick's looking Cole away because of all the things that Drake has said about Kendrick and done, dropping albums on his birthday over the years and all these things, slight shots he's sent? You don't think Kendrick is allowed to look at Cole a certain way for going all the way over there? Yes, he does have the right to do that. It's you guys are taking away the rights of some of these people because you want to favor these 2 light skins. I'm sorry. That's just how it comes off, right? Yeah, Cole plays like he's dumb, but in my opinion, he should know better, especially at this point. Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't think he is dumb. I think he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's trying to gaslight the people as if we can't read people. No, we 100% can read folks. I know what the hell is going on. I definitely do. Right? Hip hop is weird today, man. Is that a question? Kendrick mentioned Cole's name on Mr. Morale. Was it a diss? No, did he diss him? You're asking me, or are you like, what are we doing? Right? What was it Savior? Cole said you what? How did Savior go again? Future said get a money counter, but he's not your savior. Cole made you feel empowered, but he is not your savior. Okay, that's not the same as saying the Spider-Man meme is me looking at Drake, right? And then saying you're the greatest, which is fine. You can say that. But when you're saying big three, a term you made because you know you're in third place, then you say, we the big three, like we started the league after I said I'm not trying to be on the song, right? But right now I feel like Muhammad Ali, I'm the greatest. Okay, I see what you're doing here now. Now you're clicking up with someone you know is my op. On top of that, put the context into that too, right? It's not the same as saying Cole made you feel empowered, but he's not your savior. Explain that to me. Because are you asking me a question, or are you trying to prove a point with the question you're trying to ask? Because I'm not seeing it right there. Hey, I ain't mad at it, bro. Eating good. Trying to eat healthy, man. Trying to eat healthy, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get the brown rice in there, get that spinach in there, put a little onion in there. Come on, man. You guys know. You gotta eat good for the dinner. Deleted Villain made a crazy video calling out Cole for being slimy. I think I saw that one. The most recent one. He's been on a few videos on J. Cole. But no, I look at it and hey man, Deleted makes some good points about him. Again, you guys can't be mad. You could believe Cole, you could empathize with him, but I just don't like that you guys are unwilling, the ones that are defending Cole, to see how his actions come off to other people, especially the people involved in the beef. It's like you're gaslighting people because they shouldn't feel that way. And that's the problem. That's where the issue lies. Deleted hates Cole because he's a Kanye West fan. I'm a Kanye West fan too. I still like J. Cole. I just don't like how he's been moving. Like, you know, but maybe Deleted feels more strong about Kanye, you know? I don't know. I don't know the situation. I feel like the Spider-Man meme bar might have been after Drake gaslight. What? What do you mean by that? That Spider-Man meme thing was a slight. That was definitely a slight. I don't want to hear that that was not a diss or a slight. That was definitely a slight. Especially, like I said, the action itself is also a diss. You clicking up with someone I know you, or my bad, you know I have problems with for all these years, not just a 1 year thing. This is a 10 plus year flex, right? You linking up with someone like that when you know the situation, you're gonna come and try to get me on a song like things are good and they're not. And then I know down the line you're gonna paint me like I'm the bad guy and I ruined everything for these guys, which that's what they're doing, right? That is a diss. That is a diss in itself. So the action, as I've said, itself is also a diss. He doesn't need to come out here and say, "Fuck Kendrick, I'm better than him." No, him clicking up with his op, right? Because he's still friends with him, which is fine, right? Is a slight. Everybody's looking at him saying Kendrick shouldn't feel a way about that. Oh, he's the one that started. He ruined everything. Hip hop's ruined because Kendrick dissed this guy. Like, come on, what are we talking about? It's not fair towards him too, man. You guys are trying to put too much. You're negating how other people who oppose you should feel about the actions of the person you're defending. That part is wild to me. I really said Drake. I really called this J. Cole the great middleman. Oh my gosh, I'm funny, man. I'm hilarious. Yo, I was gonna actually call it J. Cole the great middleman and not so great friend. But let me relax. Let me relax. Let me chill. Let me chill. You know? Um, yes, Deleted definitely has a bias against Cole, but sometimes brings good points. Yeah, yeah, he definitely has some good points. There's definitely he said stuff that I don't agree with too. Um, but I think his assessment of J. Cole, outside of maybe there being some bias there, is very truthful. He's just saying it in a way that a lot of people don't want to hear. Because Cole, people view Cole as problematic, and that's the image that he wants to present. So people don't like people going at J. Cole like that. Just like what they try to do for Drake. Drake just doesn't have a good time at trying to paint that image now. But because Drake is always doing things to get at other people, and then he's gonna play the victim. But the media continues to do that. Like Drake is not problematic. 100%. He's the reason why we're in this nasty discourse to begin with. It was his side that was introducing the death stuff, introducing the family stuff. Then it's his fan base doing the doxing first. And I'm not here saying doxing is okay because allegedly there were some Kendrick people that was doing this. I didn't see it, right? But apparently that was a thing. Nobody doxing anybody is okay, right? Regardless what artist you like or who you listen to. But like I said, what I do on this channel, I don't look at a situation and say you guys both did it, you're both equally wrong. No, you're still wrong if you ever did something like that. Who and what is the reason why we got to this point first? That's how I like to acknowledge things, right? So you're both still at fault for what you did because it's wrong. But how did we get here? No one likes to acknowledge that, because if they do, they would have to acknowledge that Drake was the one that introduced this energy, Drake and his people, and they don't want to acknowledge that. That in itself to me is a problem. That in itself to me says that you're trying to change the narrative of how things happen. It's revisionist history. And then when people call you out for this, then we're getting attacked for it. I don't want to do this on this channel. I really don't. Oh, my laptop is just gonna be tweaking every time I try to plug it in. I gotta get a new plug, bro. It's just crazy, man. Shit is crazy. Hold on, let me just respond to a text. Y'all let me know how you feel, man. Let me know how you feel in the comments. J. Cole, you're a middleman. Oh, being a middleman it's not worth it, man. It's really about how important are these friendships to you? Is it really worth losing your sanity trying to appease both of them? I'm choosing me. Like Kodak said on Mr. Morale, I choose me. Just like Kenny said, I'm sorry. Maybe some of you will say you're not a good friend. No, I think I'm a pretty good friend, right? But I have self-respect too. right? And there was a time when I would really go out of my way for other people like that, and that energy wasn't reciprocated, right? Or I go out of my way out of genuineness, and then either way, I still end up screwing the situation over and not realizing how my actions were affecting the other people. Choose yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't let no one else gaslight into you saying that's a problem. Choose yourself. I would have no issue with J. Cole if he never spoke about the beef again after, if he never made Port Antonio and he actually stayed on his ones instead of saying, I want to be friends with both, but I'm mad that Drake is getting destroyed like this. But I love Kendrick winning the Grammys, but then I don't want him to win because it's at the expense of Drake. But then at the same time, Drake will always be my nigga. But like, you know, I don't like that people are botting, even though there was only one side that put that narrative on one person. And I know how it would sound if I say that someone is botting in an inconspicuous way on this song, but I'm going to do it either way. Then I'm going to make a song about Tupac and Biggie and say, oh, I wish that it's a representation of Kendrick and Cole, Kendrick and Drake, and I wish that it never got to this point. Not acknowledging the part that I played. Like, do you see how I'm breaking this down? Like, are any of you seeing what I'm seeing? Or are you just looking at the way that I actually believe what J. Cole's saying and he's in the right because he's speaking his mind? He spoke on the beef. He's doing what you guys asked. You guys were saying you wanted to speak on the beef. Now you speak on the beef. You're mad at him. I just don't. I don't think that way. I don't. Like, I'm sorry. I do not. And it just pisses me off that people just say specific things and they never acknowledge the shit that I'm saying right now. Which would, if I'm interviewing J. Cole, I got a list. If I'm interviewing J. Cole, was Drake the victim when he introduced the personal angle of Whitney first? How do you feel about Drake and his lawsuit against UMG, suing UMG or Kendrick by way of UMG? Do you agree with that personally, based on you being a hip hop historian and a love for this genre, or a person that partakes in this genre and tries to uphold it? How do you feel about that? People taking diss songs or lyrics and bringing them into the court of law. You said yourself, a lawsuit, bro, right? So now I'm curious to hear your perspective on that, right? I know you're excited for Iceman, whether you're going to be on it or not, but how do you feel about the energy between these two individuals post-battle, right? I know you probably talked to Kendrick and Drake, right? But how do you feel based on how they've kind of went into their separate ways and what they've done since this battle has been complete? How do you feel about the current landscape of hip-hop, right? Like, these are the things that I'd be asking J. Cole. And then I'm getting into the nitty-gritty based on what he says from there too. I'm not talking about, oh, you know, how do you feel about the battle? Like, you think it was? Like, I'm not saying all this stupid shit that they're trying to ask him now. Like, oh, Port Antonio. That's the next one. Port Antonio. Why did you feel the need to make that song? Why did you feel the need to make it and speak in the way that you were? It does come off kind of one-sided. Oh, I know, but you know, like, I gave Kendrick his props here 6 months ago, so like I can make a song like Port Antonio. But why though? Why do you feel that Drake is a victim? Are you admitting that Drake didn't do the things in the battle the way he did and that he's not reaping what he sows? Are you not acknowledging that there's going to be consequences for your actions? Or do you agree with them? Maybe he does. These are things that I'd want to know. I still don't understand folks' beef report. Oh my gosh, bro. You said you're a fan of hip hop, right? But you're sounding like a fan of Cole. I'm sure you love hip hop. I'm not gonna, like, I don't know you, so I can't really say that. What haven't I explained in this live that clarifies people's issues with that song? Well, okay. I don't know the exact wording of what he said. Maybe you could find the exact quote of what he said. Let me see if I can pull it up too, right? But he's saying that he feels bad for Drake. He feels bad because everybody's dogpiling on him, and that's the narrative. Everybody's shitting on him, trying to tear him down. We've heard this echoed multiple times. It sounds like he's saying that Drake is a victim. But why do you even have to say that? Sure, you can feel bad for it, but aren't you in the same breath going to say, but you know, I'm going to keep it a buck, because that's what J. Cole's supposed to be doing, keeping it a buck. Drake put himself in that situation. Why is he so afraid to say that? Why are all these people, these media people who get interviewed about the beef that may have some favoritism to Drake or not, why do they, when they speak in favor of Drake, they never acknowledge that one point? It's very simple. Just acknowledge that one thing. I'm not asking you to slander him. I'm just saying, why do you feel that it's not important to say those things? Or do you agree? Right? because that's what it comes off. It comes off that like, yeah, you know what? No, I'm glad that Kendrick was successful, but I'm mad that it was at the expense of Drake. And I'm not going to focus on the things that Drake did because Kendrick won. So why should I focus on those things? That's what it comes off like. I'm just explaining the other end of it. So I'm curious to know what you think about that. Let me see if I can find the J. Cole thing here. Let's see, J. Cole. See, if I play this interview on screen record, I don't want to get copyrighted. I'm really not trying to get like nuked for this. He said, J. Cole says he found it disgusting how people tried to tear down Drake while also being proud of Kendrick Lamar in the moment he had. Even the sentence and the way they word it is all over the place. The world became like politics. You're either Democrat or Republican. Democrats or Republicans. You either Kendrick or Drake. I was disgusted. Why were you disgusted? The out of hand that is to me is disgusting how people try to use that opportunity to show how they really felt about Drake the whole time, or just to pile and tear down this dude and create a narrative as if he's not great. It was a whole campaign. Where was the campaign? Where was the campaign? Have we not seen on the other end of it? There are allegedly PR campaign companies working for Drake to slander other artists. And I'm supposed to believe, on top of that, the bots, the playlisting, the push, I'm supposed to believe that J. Cole is not acknowledging all the things that Drake has done. You were the one touring with him. You're the one clicking up with him. This is what we want you to speak on. Drake is painting that only one artist botted in this whole beef, right? With no proof whatsoever. But that's the narrative that is sticking. You attacked Kendrick's legacy. Both are doing the same thing. My bad. He attacked Kendrick's discography. Both are doing the same thing. Is that why you don't want to speak on those things? You see why I have these questions? You see what I'm saying? So, no, I don't think there was a whole campaign against Drake whatsoever. No, right? He did things in the battle that people disagree with. He continued to behave in a way that people disagree with. And whether they were saying how they felt all this whole time or not, right? It was his actions that caused them to say and act the way that they were doing. No one's acknowledging his actions. Everyone's just saying they're wrong for shitting on him. Look what he did. So when you say things like that, it does come off like you agree with what he's doing. And then that's why I have to question what the hell is going on in your head. And then you also have to look at it and say, Dot does have a right to feel away, which people who defend Cole are not trying to acknowledge that one part. It sounds like you think Dot and people who agree or disagree with what Cole's saying shouldn't feel away at all. That's how it comes off. Wagwan starter. What did I miss? Oh, I thought you put the did there. No, we're just talking about J. Cole's middleman syndrome. Being a middleman. I don't know if you saw the camera on J. Cole clips, but pretty much J. Cole is out here saying that he felt very sad for Drake, that people were just coming at him and destroying him, and he felt like it was a campaign against him. But at the same time, he feels happy for Kendrick Lamar, right? And he was like, "Yeah, I'm happy Kendrick did the Super Bowl and the Grammys, but my nigga Drake and this and that." I'm like, once you put the but in there, if I'm Kenny, I'm like, listen, bro, this is why you have to respect what Kendrick has done. He stays silent and has kept to himself, right? I do think, shout out to Thought Crimes, by the way, because I was watching them a little earlier today. I do think it is fair for Kendrick and Drake at some point to probably come out and tell the fan bases to relax. But unfortunately, that probably should have happened in 2024. I think we're past that now, you know? And to be honest with you, knowing how Kendrick is, I don't think he's ever going to do that. And we know Drake definitely is never going to do that, right? So we're in a toss-up right now, you know? But I do agree with that. I think that should have been put out there because these fans are getting crazy, right? I had people AIing my picture just for my opinion. People were trying to dox me in 2024 just for my opinion. And they don't even get me started on the people in Toronto, right? Because I'm outspoken when it comes to this type of shit, man. Let me tell you, I lost followers. I lost some friends. They were taking this shit seriously. And I wasn't saying nothing to them. I was just telling them my opinion, but they couldn't believe this. Oh, you're going against the city. How dare you speak on a man that does all of this for the city? He does all of this for the city, yet we're still the butt of the joke. I actually want to support the artists from the city so that one day people can actually take us serious. And it's not about appealing to them, the people who are never going to take this country or the city serious. I don't give a shit about what they think, right? But we definitely have talent. We definitely have genuine people here. right? And I want to support them, not this fake foolishness. So God forbid I speak the real, and the people who are in the hive mind, how dare you go against this city? I'm telling you, this is all true, right? So it motivates me even more to be on my square and say what I need to say. That's why the only reason why I made this channel was to combat narratives, right? To change the perspective of some people, let them know that there's some real motherfuckers in Canada. It's just that simple. That's literally the whole reason why I made the channel, right? And if I'm not on YouTube doing YouTube shit or on live with you guys, I'm writing, I'm working on my film shit. That's literally all I do, right? But it's just like it's gotten to a crazy point right now. But you can't let that stop you from saying the real shit. Whoa. Drake equals country I will not name. Can't do wrong in certain people's eyes. You're right. You're right. I don't want to say the name of the country before I get nuked on the stream here. But yeah. No. You're definitely right. Definitely right. There's no wrong that he can do. No one wants to speak on the wrong. I always thought, especially recently, now that they're confirming that Drake has this PR agency, people behind him, I always thought that Cole too, but Kendrick, all these people in the industry, most of them were privy to that knowledge. So they were scared of speaking out in any negative slight against Drake, right? Because they knew there was going to be a slander campaign coming for their head top right after that, right? Because he has the ability to do that. So it kind of gave off this kiss the ring energy for everyone in the industry. You bow down and kiss the ring. And if you ever go against Drake, you're going to have to deal with the bots. You're going to have to deal with the podcasters. You're going to have to deal with the allegations that may come out because we have the ability to do that. You're going to have to deal with all of that. And realistically, people don't have the money or want to deal with that. So they kiss the ring. And that's just how I think it kind of is behind the scenes. I could be wrong, though. I don't know. Let me see what you said here. I don't like where the battle went, but Drake for sure brought that shit on himself. Ain't nobody tell you say that man's wife's name. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I mean, again, there's no accountability, right? So it's like, oh, this guy ruined hip hop. Kendrick ruined hip hop. But Drake brought up his wife. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? Kendrick should have never called him this, a PDF file. But he said all this stuff about his family, and he told him, warned him 3 times that no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Right? Drake should be able to say whatever he wants, but Kendrick can only respond a certain way. That's what it comes off. That's exactly how it comes off. And it's just crazy to me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't like where the battle went. You know, I would have preferred for shit to stay better. I honestly, as much as I wanted to see Kendrick and Drake, I would have loved to see that in 2013. I was actually trying to see Kendrick and Cole because I knew it would stay in a place where it needed to. But maybe, I've been saying that for 2 years, maybe it wouldn't. Maybe Cole thought that he couldn't maintain keeping it at a certain level himself too. I know the argument is it was getting to a place where it was going to be bad. But maybe Cole was looking at it like, shit, if I go down this route and say some shit, I don't think I could ever come back from it. Maybe that's what it was too. Who knows? That's facts, but we're the real children of... Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Kendrick hasn't said a word in 2 I'm telling you, in 2 years, right? It's been mute on his side. Now watch, when Kendrick come out and say something, they're gonna say, oh, that's what they're gonna say. Oh my gosh, they're gonna say, oh my god, the dark skinned guy is responding to all the shit they said. He can't respond to the light skinned men. He can't respond and take on the light skinned brigade. He must not show his lyrical superiority in music against us. That's how they move. Yo, the stands are crazy, but let's be real. All these people defending Drake are creating narratives to make fan bases act like this. It's a two-sided situation. We are not going to say what the fans are doing, whether even Kendrick fans, if they're coming out there and doxing people and shit like that. I haven't seen it, right? But if that is really happening, that's not okay, right? But every reaction gets every action gets a reaction, sorry, right? So them continuing to do this, it's engagement baiting. You're feeding into the narratives and you're continuing to push certain narratives, and you know exactly what that's going to do, but nobody cares because they're getting paid by the amount of interactions they get or all the viewers that are going to come on their podcast. It's all for monetary gain, and they don't care that they're making things worse. And then they're going to gaslight you into saying, why do you still care about the beef? I would love to move past this. right? I have some other videos coming out this week. We're not talking about no hip hop on the uploads that I got coming out. So stay tuned for that. I have some cool movie shit coming out. But every now and then we have to come back to this beef shit because people continue to do this. And then they're going to be the same ones that say, why are you still talking about the beef? My nigga, move past it. It's like, bro, like, come on, don't say the name, bro. My bad. No, you're good. You're good. I know by now. Still, I've seen enough other YouTubers. You know, they pivot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yeah, I won't ever say that name on this channel. But we know the real. The red button. Oh, hey, shout out to Lynch DJ for the $9.99 donation, brother. I appreciate you. I really do appreciate you. It's been a while since I got a dono. I don't really live like that. But I appreciate you, man, so much. Thank you so much for that. You said definitely appreciate your perspective. Good to hear a perspective from a non-biased Canadian. I'm telling you, because if it were up to just the Canadian people that you guys probably see, we're gonna all sound like fools. We're all gonna sound like idiots, right? And all the things that I've said to not speak down, but like, you know, hold Drake accountable, I've still given him his props in the same breath, right? But they don't want people like us, which there are a ton of people who think like me and have the same opinion and maybe even better opinions too. They don't want people like us coming out here and speaking about Canada. They don't want us coming out here speaking about him. They don't want us coming out here speaking the real, because the image that they want to paint for Canada is soft, right? Fake, and that we want to be pimped. We take bare minimum. It's all the negative things under the sun, and I'm not here for it. I'm trying to have a career myself, right? And I'm not letting the limitations of what these people allow Canada to be over the last 25 years to affect me. I'm not. I'm sorry. This generation is not doing that shit. We're gonna speak on it, right? And I'm telling you, I wouldn't feel so confident to make this channel if I didn't know many people who feel the same way as me, right? So I know it's funny to make fun of Canada, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. You got to get your jokes off and shit, right? But don't. I'm glad that you understand. I want anyone else to understand. There are people who actually have sense here, and that's another critique I have of Drake, is that you platform the worst people from Canada and Toronto, and then that's the image that we have. You don't care. You don't care, right? So if I was in that position, like a Drake or someone else that's from the city, I wouldn't be platforming foolishness. I'd be putting on the genuine artists, and that's the plan. And I implore anyone that's Canadian or wants to help Canadian artists that you may find genuine or people here that you like to do the same thing. That's it. That's it. We have to change the narrative, but we can't allow the foolishness. And Drake plays a big part of allowing the foolishness, but you have to kiss the ring here too, right? Well, we're not going to do that. We're going to say Wagwan. That's just what it's always going to be. That's simple. That's simple. Oh yeah, so I appreciate you, Lynch. I appreciate you for that donation. Okay. 2013 would have been way better for Kendrick versus Drake, but yeah, I wanted Cole versus Kendrick too. It gave Cole the chance to get out of Kendrick's shadow. I agree. If we got Kendrick versus Drake 2013, poof, would have been peak. Would have been crazy. I was ready. I remember I was at an amusement park when Control dropped. I had my BlackBerry Curve or whatever it was. I had the Curve, my little shit BlackBerry, and I remember I barely connect to the Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi in public settings in Canada back in like the early 2010s, it wasn't the best, right? But like I was trying to connect to the Wi-Fi. I remember I just connected, and then I see SoundCloud and everybody on Twitter, yo, Kendrick just called out everybody, and I'm like, what? Huh? I'm like, okay, let me listen to it. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're about to get the greatest rap battle of all time. I thought it was gonna happen that year. Right? And then Drake responded with, what was it, the language? I don't know why you're lying. Your shit is not that inspiring. No, but don't get it twisted though. Nothing was the same as hard, right? Nothing was the same as hard, right? Okay, but then after that, Kendrick came on the I got my thumb on hip hop and my foot in the back of your ass. Aftermath did done last laugh. I serve niggas like Master Jeffrey jump on the curb. Turn a shotty to a verb and let me know I'm a killer. I'm on your head, you know I'm a killer. The West Coast coaster over yours to your other, your over. At that point, I was like, yo, oh my gosh, it's gonna happen. And we went into 2014, nothing happened. Crazy. I really wish it happened then, though. At least the Stan shit wouldn't have been involved. It would have gotten toxic, I think, right? But the Stan shit wouldn't have been involved. And also, I think Drake was more pure at that point too. So it would actually, that's the main reason why I wanted it to happen back then. It's not like Kendrick's artistry declined. Drake's did. right? But his era, his peak, in my opinion, artistically was that point. It would have been perfect. It would have been perfect for them to go battle them times. I would have loved to seen it, bro. And then, like you said, getting out of for 2024 for Cole, it would have been great, right? Because Cole, if anything, right, depending on how it happens, I don't think Cole would win, but I think it would be an amazing battle. That's just my preference, right? Or my opinion. But a lot more people would probably respect Cole and put him in the number 2 spot just off of that alone, right? They would have went back and forth. Think about how many songs he probably would have got. I don't think they would have stopped, right? I think we would have got maybe even more songs. I think we would have got even more hits. It would probably push Cole to make a couple hit diss tracks. So could you imagine? Could you honestly imagine? Right? And then in itself, I don't think it would go personal, at least to not that route. You know what I mean? But in itself, I think that would have been so good for hip hop. Whereas Drake, yes, I get it. He's the numbers guy. He's the number 1 artist that makes all these different genres. And you guys say he's the best rapper, but uses pop records, his R&B records, his dancehall records as proof as to why he's the best rapper, right? I get it, right? So it makes sense. And plus, they've already had their 10-year plus beef, so I get it. It makes sense. But it would have been more pure if the 2 rapidy rap guys went back and forth and actually balanced hip hop in a right way. That's my opinion. Laugh my ass off. Man said, yes, sir. Laugh my ass off. Yeah, bro. Be knowing we them people. Of course, bro. Of course, man. You know, we already seen what happened to Kyrie. So it's just like, all right, bro. We just gonna continue the conversations in private. Right? So hey, man. It's crazy. It's crazy, especially what's going on right now. It shit's crazy. Yeah, you stream and interact with the chat makes for good discussion. Yeah, man, I appreciate it. And you know, I'm glad. I don't really care how many people come in the live stream. You know, I appreciate all you guys for just coming in here and just saying your piece, whether you know you agree with me or not, or I agree with you or not. I do appreciate that we can actually have a conversation. It's cool, you know what I'm saying? And then I kind of get surprised too. I'm like, oh, people are actually in here. I'm like, say a word, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's sick. So yeah, I appreciate it. And I think that's like the best thing, you know, when you actually have like a discussion, right? Because I could just be ranting in here, but like that's mainly why I'd want to live stream on the channel, or when I do, I kind of like doing it like this, you know what I mean? Just getting people's different perspectives and just going back and forth. But hold on, I need to look a sip of this water H2O. Starter. Yeah, we're often overlooked in Canada. You know 100%. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Like, we're overlooked in Canada, but that's also our fault, right? There's too many people allowing this energy to continue. I'm here to disrupt it 100%. I want to tear everything down and rebuild it back up, because what we have right now, no sense in all aspects, not just music, entertainment, right? Film, YouTube, creator influencing culture over here, which I hate, by the way, but at the same time, and I'm talking about like people who do the stupid, like, oh, I kiss my friend's girlfriend in front of my other girl, and let's see what happens. Like, I hate shit like that, or to pop the balloon stuff. I hate that shit. It's just bare minimum, low vibrational shit, right? We're the creators. There are some comedian guys from here. I don't know if some of you may have heard of them. They're called For Y'all Entertainment. They actually have a TV show now, but they started doing YouTube skits from like 15 years ago on YouTube. They actually done a couple collaborations with Drake, right? They're some of the funniest people ever. But this was the era where people were making YouTube comedy skits. Y'all remember that? Remember when YouTube, before vlogs and shit, it was people actually creating shit? Now it's just people just podcasting, saying stupidness, doing the bare minimum, and they're blowing up somehow with Pop the Balloons or 10 girls versus one guy or some shit, 2 girls, 1 cup, foolishness. I don't know, man. All this dumb shit. I'm just like, bro, this is what we want to strive for. And then you see the artists that come from Canada, and it's always the people who are in the positions to uplift the genuine ones. They're not. They uplift these fools. Why are we talking about chromas? Why are we talking about these artists or this shit, this melodic bullshit that we can't even understand, that 100 other people sound the same as? I don't want to hear that shit. I don't. I'm just sick of it. So we allow this because in Canada, especially in Toronto, we like debauchery. People in the Toronto and the GTA love debauchery. They love foolishness. They love toxicity. That's the problem. So that's all they strive for. It's the bare minimum. I'm like, there's so many script writers that I know that are amazing. They're not getting opportunities. There's so many musicians, artists, even rappers that I know that don't even do it as a career, but they do it on the side. They're not getting no recognition, and they actually deserve a shot. And the people who are in power are not looking at these people saying, "Yeah, let me put them on. Let me put them in a proper position." No, I'm gonna put on chromas. I'm gonna put on this dumb person. I'm gonna put on this person that's probably gonna go to jail in a year, come out of jail, and then make shit even harder for me. I'm gonna put on this person that's gonna probably, unfortunately, God forbid, get shot. What are we doing? You see what I'm saying? So it's just like, we accept this. We have to change this. And unfortunately, people who are like me that are going to speak on this shit and actually want to be better for the city and a better outlook for the country overall, we got to deal with the people who are still in the hive mind, right? They're still in the hive mind, still in the box, unwilling to accept that I'm right and you're wrong. And the reason why you're wrong, and I can say it so confidently, is because look what it has done for this country and the city. Nothing. I always said Drake blew up because he's from Toronto, right? And did more for himself and blew up because he's from here, right? I'm not saying he didn't come and donate to charity or shit, bare minimum that all these people can do. I'm not looking for him to put out handouts for anyone specifically either. I don't expect Drake to do this now, especially. But if I'm in the position that Drake's in, I'm doing things 100% different. Simple as that, right? And I know one day I'm going to get to that position and y'all going to see exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not selling for the bullshit. And they don't want people like me or who think like me, who actually want to represent the genuineness of the city to actually be for the city. That's why I said this whole shit is backwards. It's gatekeeping, it's toxicity, it's people thinking bare minimum. People just want low vibrational shit. It's everything bad under the sun. But we 100% accept it. So we have to want more for ourselves. And that's it. Are you on Twitter? I appreciate the discussions. Yes, I'm on Twitter. Lightwalker X, but with 2 R's at the end. Honestly, I'm probably gonna be taking a break from Twitter very soon. Just the way with a lot of this discourse that's like it's been happening. I'm just kind of I'm super over it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna take a hefty break soon, but you can check me out. And if you haven't subscribe, bro. I'll probably be more active on the channel more as opposed on Twitter in the next coming weeks because I'll probably only use it to share out my links. I'm honestly done with the discourse, like typing wise. You know what I mean? I just can't. It's like I'm convincing insane people to be normal and they're not, I heard a theory that Drake doesn't want to be dethroned, so he puts on the artists that are trolls or aren't better than him. Oh, 100%. 100%. I would believe that. And you want to know, I don't think that might have always been the case, but you want to know what made that a thing? Was The Weeknd. After The Weeknd left, he said, no, I'm not putting on anyone better than me. That's not right. Party Next Door is extremely talented, but I think he's more of a talented writer because he has penned for a lot of people, right? But you held Party to a standard, and that partially could be him too because he doesn't seem like the person that wants to be out in the mix all the time. I understand that. But you know exactly what you're doing. You want to keep these people at a certain level. That's why I would never sign to OVO. Why I would never take an OVO co-sign. I mean, I wouldn't anyways. I'm not in the music industry, but just in general, I would never, ever do that because I'm already setting myself up for failure. All right? I'm not doing that. Other people, they're going to keep their mouth shut because they want to do that. I don't care. I was always going to be successful either way. Right? So that's how I look at it. I think a lot of people are just looking up to them to kind of give them a pass or credit or whatever. And it's like, no, we already heard about John Rivers. We don't want to end up in that situation. Right? So appreciate you. I actually prefer the hits from Nothing Was the Same over Take Care. Okay. Haven't given them a full listen in a while. Honestly, I feel you because Take Care to me is still my preferred album from him, like number one. But the other day, like sometime last year, I don't remember, a song from Nothing Was the Same came on and it hit different. Maybe revisit it again, and you might feel different because honestly, when Nothing Was the Same first came out, I didn't really like it as much as Take Care as an album. I liked some of the songs, the singles that were used, but then I think like a year into it, I really started to rock with Nothing Was the Same, like 2014, like about a year after it came out was when I was like, okay, yeah, this album's hard. It's my second favorite probably from him, right? But Take Care is still my number one. Nothing's beating Take Care. Sorry. Thank Me Later, I actually really did like. That was the first Drake CD I got. We had So Far Gone, but it wasn't mine, right? But Thank Me Later was the first Drake CD I had. Then I got Take Care, right? Didn't Get Nothing was the same. Take Care was the last CD I think I ever got from Drake. Didn't Get Nothing was the same though. But I think at that point I got my like first, was it smartphone? No, I had the BlackBerry that year. I got my first Android like a year after that or whatever, and then you can download songs on the Android free. So I was just downloading all the songs. I didn't really need to buy CDs at that point, right? But beforehand, I was buying CDs because I was burning them onto my iPod and shit like that. You guys remember? You know what I mean? But yeah, go revisit it again, and I might too, honestly, because Nothing Was the Same. I think it's his best cohesive project. But Take Care just hit a little different for me, There were no stands then. It would have been great. Honestly, like the stand culture wasn't like as crazy as it is now. A lot of people say, "Oh, not Biggie, Jay-Z and Nas didn't have this toxicity." I think it definitely did. We just couldn't see it because the internet wasn't there. Yeah, right. So there would have been some crazy folks, but it wouldn't have been like how it is today. No, so I agree there. It would have been completely different, And I think Cole could make this records because I thought Poor Thing was fire. Is Poor Thing? Is that the one? Punk bitch. Punk bitch. That song was nice. That's what I'm saying, man. Imagine like a J. Cole diss, him and Kenny going back and forth, and they come out with a couple hits out of those diss tracks too. Could you imagine? Because Kendrick's not making a Not Like Us about Cole. If Kendrick is battling Cole, he's gonna have to go inward and really figure out the narrative that he's trying to stick. It's not about false allegations now, right? Because J. Cole, I would hope, is not introducing that energy. It's about, okay, I'm trying to beat you and dismantle you lyrically. And Cole's going to try and do the same thing. So it's going to force them to both up their game. And they're already very high caliber rappers. So it would have been amazing. But it didn't go that way, unfortunately. Nah, it wouldn't have been good for hip hop. Hip hop was at its best with posse cuts. Wait, are you talking about if Cole and Kendrick battled, or you're saying if they had battled back then? Yep, the men in purple and gold that came to Kyrie's defense is the camp I'm with. Biggest camp in the world. Our bishop is constantly speaking with world leaders. That's amazing, though. That's what's up. Same camp Kendrick's cousin Carl was with when he mentioned him on Damn, My Cousin Carl. Damn is how I honestly was introduced into that perspective. I started reading, I'll show you, around maybe like Damn came out 2017. And after that, when I heard that, because I knew some of these things, I was raised in the church and stuff like that, right? But I knew some of these things, but I wasn't really fully going into that route. I always believed in God and understood, religion and stuff like that. Other people's religions I would understand too, but like as a apostolic Christian, like I understood certain things, and then I started reading this right here, the Haile Selassie Holy Bible. This is the Ethiopian Bible converted into English, right? This is the ones that the Rastafarians use because they use the Holy Bible Haile Selassie. That's when I started learning about what you're talking about right now. And let me tell you, that's when I had a whole new perspective on everything else, right? So if you are going to read a Bible and you're black, right? Or Spanish or Chinese or native, you may want to pick up the Ethiopian text because they're going to tell you the real about yourself. That's all I'm going to say, right? So I respect that. I appreciate that. And that's cool too. That's lit. YouTube comedy skits. It's what's got me into filmmaking way back in the day, early YouTube days. 100%. That played a huge part, especially seeing people from the ends speak on these things and not speak on these things, actually create content and actually like create a world, immerse you into a story. You know what I mean? Whether it was 3 minutes or 5 minutes, 6 minutes, didn't matter, And it was motivating. You know what I mean? Like it was cool to see that. Whereas now it's like no one's using the creative juices no more. And if they are, they use it on a TikTok or a short, which is fine. That shit's funny too. That's the new shit. It's we got to blame Vine for that, right? Because that's really where it started. But that's not taking it to the full potential. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel. Let's see what happens now. Oh, damn. I just saw somebody get. Twitter is a wild place. I just saw someone get killed by a bull as soon as I refreshed my page. Yo, what the frick is going on? This is crazy. I don't know. I think maybe, I guess when the full interview drops, we'll drop a video on it. This is just my pre-discussion on Cole, man. Like, don't be a middleman. Don't be a middleman. Choose yourself. And if your friends are truly your friends, they would respect you for choosing yourself, especially if they got beef with each other. They don't want no one else involved. That's where I stand with it. That's how I always stand. I've been saying it for 2 years. Thoughts on Sinners, Oscar wins, etc. Wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. It had 16 nominations, most of all time, only won 4. I always said the nominations would probably be the award, right? They're gonna just make it most awarded, but they're not gonna give him nowhere near. I think Sinners was best film, 100% better than One Battle After Another. I think Marty Supreme was better than One Battle After Another, in my opinion. I like the concept of One Battle After Another, but the execution I kind of disagree with. Not even kind of, I definitely disagree with how it was executed, especially in the writing. But we know if you're a Paul Thomas Anderson fan, you can't say that you dislike the movie without them telling you that you don't understand movies. So, I think Sinners took home best cinematography, best score, best actor, and best original screenplay. I would agree with all 4. I would have probably also given it best film, and you can argue best director, but I know they got to keep it even, right? So even though it wasn't, they gonna give it to Paul Thomas Anderson. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's my opinion on that. Yeah. Honestly, guys, I said I was gonna keep it short. I don't know how long that was. I don't know if that was an hour, 2 hours. But I'm gonna go check on my chicken. I got chicken cooking. I might make some potato, some rice. We're gonna boil that and cook that up and serve it real nice on a nice plate with some fruits, some spinach, and onion as well. So I want to get to prepping that. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming in here having a discussion with me. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll try to, whenever this J. Cole thing drops, maybe do another video to follow up with that. I'm gonna have some movie videos coming out hopefully by the end of this week. If not the latest next week. So you guys stay tuned for that as well. Thank you so much for every single person that tuned in, to Lynch for donating. I appreciate you. Everyone else that supported, followed, liked any of the content. Sorry, I've been away for a week. I've been working on some writing shit. If I'm ever away, it's most likely because I'm editing or writing some other stuff. All right. So sorry about the break, but yes, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe for more. I'll have more content for you guys soon. Thank you so much for all the participation. Y'all stay blessed. Stay prayed up, and yeah, I hope you guys have a good dinner because I'm about to. All right, yo. So y'all have a good one, and I appreciate the support. Y'all stay blessed.